Ding, 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 ding. How's it, guys? Firstly, thanks everybody for coming. We started a bit late. Let me just say, Cameron would be super flippin' pissed off. There's nothing he liked more than the people he loved, good booze and good food. He's with us today. If I break down, I apologise. He had a couple of instructions for me. The very first one was that this was not a funeral. This was not a memorial. This was a celebration of his life, because he lived a very good life, and he lived it to the fullest. And we need to turn off the music, toodles. He lived it to the fullest, and he loved everybody, and he had such a huge impact on so many people's lives, which is evident today. We've had a lot of people who phoned in who've either got COVID or who have been in contact with people who have COVID and have made their apologies. So hello to all of you who's streaming. What do I say about Cameron? Flip, I don't know. We have a tradition in our family where we pass mugs around. And it started with me giving mugs to the kids. And then it started with the kids giving us mugs. And then it started with the cousins giving mugs. And I went out the other day and I looked at Cameron's collection of mugs. And his mugs say a lot about him. He had Mr. Perfect. He really liked that one. He had Totally Fucking Awesome. He had Total Fucking Legend. Notice the swearing theme carries on. But his favourite, I think, was the president of the Grumpy Fuckers Club. He took great pride in being the grumpy fucker with his very dry sense of humour. He impacted so many people's lives, and the messages that have come from around the world have just been amazing. And I want to thank you all for being there for my kids and myself. He was just an incredible man, probably one of the most kind-hearted men I've ever met in my life, and would have given you the shirt off his back if he thought that you needed it more than he did. He also asked me to read a poem, which is going to be very, very difficult for me, but I read it at my late brother's funeral. And he said to me then, "Don't cry, because if you cry, then you don't believe it." And I believe it. So, just, no pressure at all. Sorry, I'm just picking it up again. Okay, now I've lost it. Typical. I lost it long ago. True story.
That implies she ever had it.
Okay, now I'm building South Africa's digital future. I have no idea why. Here it is. Here we go. Death is nothing at all. It does not count. I've only slipped into the next room. Nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you. And the old life that we lived so fondly together is untouched and unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, we are still. Call me by my old familiar name. Speak to me in the easy way that you always used. Put no difference in your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh like we always laughed at the little jokes that we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be an ever household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without effort and without a ghost of shadow upon it. Life means what it has always meant. It is the same as it always was. There is an absolute and unbroken continuity. What is death but a negligible accident. Why should I be out of mind because I am out of sight? I am but waiting for you for an interval around a very near corner. All is well. Nothing is hurt, nothing is lost. One brief moment, and it will be as it was before. How we shall laugh at the trouble and the parting as we meet again. So, Cameron, yeah, sorry. He's with us here today, and he's incredibly proud. He loved his sisters, he loved his brother, listen to me, his sons, his daughter. And can't do any more. I'm going to ask Liam to stand up and speak now. We've got messages from overseas, so we've got Liam, Sean, and then we've got some skydiving buddies. Everybody who wants to be with Cameron, and cheers, buddy, blue skies.
I just need to prep, sorry guys. Just in case. Ugh. So, go on already. Let me take this off so I can't see you guys.
Okay, I'll have beers for Cameron. Because that would really make him pleased.
If they're for me, I think we've got a bit of a problem. Anyway, so I'd like to start off by saying, and it's a bit dark, but it's something my dad always used to say. Live well, die young, have a good-looking corpse. And my dad did die too young, in my opinion. But thinking over it the past few days, I think the die young doesn't mean dying at a young age. It's being young at heart. And I think if we all look back, we all see my dad being young. His father will probably see the son that when he got sent with wine to give to his teachers at school, stole the wine and went off and drank it.
12.
At 12, yeah, no less. So we start young in this family. To my mother, when he first started dating her, trying to pass off my cousins as his own sons, trying to scare her and see how much he's willing to take. To the friends at the skydiving club playing a interesting game of darts using a 9mm instead of darts themselves. Very interesting way to play it, in my opinion. To me, the constant jokes and just everything being a joke, down to when I had the misfortune, let's say, of being at his cremation on Tuesday and walking him in, and the driver came and said that if we need anything, please phone Zodwa, who is handling all the policies and all of that, beside the matter, he'll come running. And the first thing that came to my mind, which would be very much like my dad, was, would it not be faster to drive? And I think that's the way I'd like to remember him, young at heart. Given that, I don't have much more to say on behalf of myself, but I'd like to share a poem which I believe is quite a cliche amongst the skydivers, but I read to him in his final moments. Sorry. Just calm the nerves, as he would have liked. This is High Flight by John Gillespie McGee. Oh, I have slipped the surly bonds of earth, and danced the skies and laughed as silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things. You have not dreamt of wheeled and soared and swung, high in the sunlit silence, hovering there. I've chased a shouting wind along, and flung my eager craft through the footless halls of air. Up, up, the long, delirious, burning blue. I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace. where never lark or eagle flew. And while with silent, lifted mind I've trod the highest untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God. And he's out there now, busy in the blue, or at the moment, probably a bit grey, touching the face of God. And that's what I'd like to share, and I have to stay up here. I've got a message I'd like to share from, as we fondly know, Batty. Others may know as Heather Sterling. The name Batty is an inside joke because she was told to flap her old leathery wings as a bat and fly off at the DZ by the skydivers. Dearest Lisa, Liam, and Sean, my thoughts and prayers are with you on this very special and very difficult day. Cameron will always be held in deep regard and loved by me and my family. He is someone who I came to respect a long time ago. Being in the kitchen at PPC gave me a wonderful window on the world of the skydiving fraternity. Sorry, there was an emoji there, I was a bit confused. And I watched a great many friendships and other relationships developed. I never saw him in a foul mood or heard Cameron badmouth anyone, but I did hear him often, and very loudly too, as he joked his way through the day. I've lost track of most of the jokes he told me, but many I do recall very clearly. The photo of Cameron taken on your wedding day reminds me of that unforgettable occasion. He circulated amongst the guests, checked up on me more often than I felt necessary, but I appreciated his thoughtfulness. As the night wore on, he felt it necessary to check up on me more often, hugged me and then picked me up and carried me a few paces. Not an easy undertaking for a sober person. I am not tall, but I am pretty well upholstered. I had visions of my weight tipping us into the garden shrubbery and being discovered with a bare-bottomed groom. He is not a true queen in power, as the Scots will say. He was wearing a kilt, remember, lying on top of me. Cameron and Lisa taught me to play backgammon. Afternoons at the skydiving club, it was rained out. We'd head for the Tatham Art Gallery in the old Supreme Court building in Pietermaritzburg. Classical music or jazz playing gently in the background as we drank good coffee, not the crap that you served to the mainly indiscriminating skydivers. Oh, sorry, it's a bit hard. Do you still have your Zulu married woman's red hat, Lisa?
I do.
I recall that you first saw one on display at the Tatham Gallery. You had to have one. Cameron thought you were crazy, but it didn't stop him from helping you track one down and buying it for you, loyal and indulgent to a fault. When Cameron was in Mozambique and the kids were tiny, you had a really tough time steering the ship alone, Lisa. You may not know it, but Cameron stayed in regular telephonic contact with me. He needed to know from an independent source that you and the little guys were doing okay. The independent source was showered with a wooden carving and artifacts, including a wooden mkodwa, I'm sorry if that's pronounced incorrectly, and pole for grinding mealies in, still one of my favorite possessions. You and Cameron took Tash under your collective wings when she moved to Durban to start her nursing career. How many early suppers and cups of coffee didn't you two stand her to on a Sunday afternoon at the Fainting Goat and similar places in the area, and going kilometers out of your way to drop her off after she'd been home to Pietermaritzburg for the weekend? Tash adored Cameron and still does. He was the person that she opened up to one Friday afternoon after school. She was about 14 then, when our family Springer Spaniel had to be euthanized the same day that her paternal grandmother passed away. I still bless Cameron for his sensitivity that day. I have to recall all those lovely Wednesday evenings we had at the PAC when we would meet to celebrate halfway to the next weekend, and we took it in turn to cater. You and Cameron had started making pasta, and he'd make the pasta dough, rest it, and feed it through the rollers. You would make a sauce and a salad, and although there were usually only 3 of us, we'd end up feeding a horde of flying folk. Total strangers would say, "What are you up to? That looks interesting." And next thing, we'd be dishing up pasta and bean stroganoff to 2 or 3 strangers. You were pregnant with Liam when we started our midweek celebrations. So many wonderful memories that I shared with you all. I hope you've enjoyed my ramble through the past almost 30 years. So many more memories. My life has been enriched by having... Sorry. My life has been enriched by having Cameron, you, Liam, and Sean in my life. How could I, or anyone else who knew Cameron, ever forget? My thoughts are with you today. I will love you all forever. I, my family, and Sarah Pippolini are all with you in the spirit today. God bless and be with you forever.
Thank you, my boy.
I'd like to drink a toast using a family flask filled with whiskey. I hope Grandpa can see this. It's the family flask. To my father, who lived well, died young, but was always fucking good looking.
Thank you, my boy. Okay, this is Cameron's nephew, Curtis. We love Delhi, who was his son when he tried to scare me off when we first dated.
So, I'm Curtis. I'm the cousin that was once belonging to Cameron as his own son. So to introduce myself, I'm the son of Cameron's sister Fiona, which unfortunately can't be here today. So today we come together to celebrate a true man of magnitude, a man who would bring a smile to your face no matter what the occasion. A man who built this family that joins together today to celebrate the way in which he lived his unique life. My experience with Cameron started many years ago. As a kid, one of the things I always looked forward to was the Christmas visits to Cameron and Lisa's. And one of the main reasons was the love I had for my uncle Cameron. Even at the small age, I knew every time that I was in his presence, in his presence in my life, I would be filled with joy, even if it was at the expense of myself. This never changed. A couple of years back, when my gran was sick, Cameron's mum was sick, I can remember Cameron still finding a way to give her such a hard time that the entire family was in hysterics. It's with moments like these that we forget about the pain that we're going through, and we get filled with joy and laughter. And that's what today is about. A moment of laughter and joy to honor the way in which Cameron wanted this day to be done. Cameron and Lisa have always been one of the strongest units I've seen. They've been through many challenges and tests, but still always turned to each other. They moved to the farm. I'm sure it wasn't easy, but they've built such a success of it. It is not only what they have achieved together, but what they have built together. They have 2 strong, independent children, full of love for their parents, who will continue to grow and walk in the footsteps and the foundations that Cameron has laid. Lisa, as you know, Cameron is just around the corner. Keep achieving, keep building. His presence will be in every moment of joy, and in every upcoming challenge he'll be rooting for you. From just around the corner. So, let's celebrate the life of Cameron. Let's pause in the morning and let's have a moment of laughter and joy as we look back at the life Cameron lived and the way he conquered everything with a smile. We love you, Cameron, and we'll continue to love you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Romy. I met Cameron skydiving, but before I met Cameron skydiving, I met Lisa. So I'm going to tell you all about it from day one. Day one. Oh, and I'm old-fashioned. I can't do the phone thing. I'm a paper girl. Oh, thank you. She wasn't even around at day one. Hi, I'm Lisa. It's all clagged in. Do you want to come for a walk in the reserve? There'll be no skydiving today. Jump number 3 had to wait. But what happened instead, this is hard, was infinitely more precious. And in the time that followed at that little airport on the outskirts of Pietermaritzburg, other treasures came into my life. One of them was this guy, average height, slim-ish, mop of dark hair with an engaging grin when he chose to bestow it on us lesser mortals. To me, he was very much one of the cool guys on the drop zone, but he had this calmer energy. He didn't seem to need the approval of anyone. I did not recognize this craggy skydiver as a treasure then, but I learned very quickly that this one was a diamond in the rough, our friend Camel. Time passed and I got to know Camel better. The parties at the skydiving club, drinking till the sun came up and then having to wait before we could skydive because our alcohol levels were too high. He dispatched me on some of those early jumps, and he and I think it was John and Gordon on jump number 24, I looked in my logbook, introduced me to the effects of altitude on the human gut. Air expands as you go up in altitude, and it needs release. He just accepted me as part of the package when he started dating Lisa. At one point, Cameron had a room next to the old bunkhouse, and on one bitterly cold PPC winter's night, he did not bat an eyelid when Lisa walked in and said, "Hun, it's way too cold for Romy in the bunkhouse, and she's my cousin." We discovered we were cousins by that stage. "And so she's going to come and sleep in our bed." Okay. And he went, "Yeah, whatever." And he moved over and he made room for us. And when I woke up the next morning, there was a hand on my boob. And Cameron's only comment was, "Oh, I thought something felt different." Nothing fazed him. When Gemma was born, Cameron took her in his stride and into his heart. I will forever treasure the pictures of him holding Gemma at her christening. She was nestling in his lap, very similar to the picture that you have there. I think children love to nestle in his lap. It was just such a welcoming place. And it was confirmed that Cameron, this craggy skydiver, had a soft and gentle side. Legend has it that when Cameron first saw Lisa, he said, "That is the girl I'm going to marry." And 25 years ago, marry her he did. A lot of people here today were present there. They partied the night away. We partied the night away at the best wedding ever, or so I'm told. I remember the first part, and in fact, I have to mention, there's a photograph at the wedding of me trying to lift Cameron's kilt And Liam has not given me permission to do the same to him. He says I may not. Right. Here was my friend who had stated categorically that she was never going to get married, being joined in holy matrimony to Cameron Gourlay-Smith. He started out as Cameron Smith. Cameron changed his name by deed poll from Smith to Gourlay-Smith before the wedding, as it was the only way they could join their names together officially for their married life. What a guy. When Liam and Sean were born, his love for them was so great that he chose to give up skydiving. Can you imagine, guys, a skydiver choosing to give up skydiving so that there was no chance of an accident ever taking him away from them? I need a drink. There were very few grey areas in Cameron's life. He knew his mind, he knew what was right, and was not easily swayed. Oh, my word, oh, thank you.
Family tradition.
Yes, thank you. Having said that, he was a no-drama llama and a find-a-solution type guy. His solution may not have always matched Lisa's solution, but they solved the issue at hand, and there may have even been some creative humdinger verbal repartee along the way. But with the super important things, they were in agreement, and the energy of their home reflected that. They were welcoming hosts and good, easy friends, that the farm in Caterridge became a happy place for many of us. As you know, our friend was a builder, but he was an artist too. He made and painted the most beautiful things. I have a marble chopping board set in wood. He made and painted beautiful toy boxes for our kids, from all sorts of bits and pieces and furniture to real wands tipped with quartz crystal, wrapped in leather and ribbons. Cameron was a man of many talents, moods, faces, foibles. A husband, father, a friend, and a son. A skydiver, a grumpy old fart, a master builder, a generous creative, a clown, a drinking buddy, and a pasta maker supreme. We have all been blessed in knowing him and loving him, and being loved, compelled, tolerated, and teased in return. He was a man that was liberated from the shackles of what other people may think. And many of us have been on the receiving end of his honest, quick comments that attest to his observational skills and keen intelligence. I loved his no bullshit, no hidden agenda view of life. Along with that was his dry, irreverent sense of humor. Oh, my hat, he could make us laugh, just like up at altitude after he'd farted. We will miss him. So, day 10,000 and some change. It's been that long. It is all clagged in. No skydiving today. And we will all walk together in the spirit of Cameron Gourlay-Smith. The path has taken a sharp left turn, but our journey continues. To Lisa, Liam, and Sean, while you must carry your own load of pain and loss, we are here to take some of that weight in any way you need us to. Precious things will continue to happen, and treasures will always cross your path as we honor the memory of this amazing and everything kind of guy. Cheers, Cameron.
How's it? Just coming back to read a message out from Cameron's sister Sandra from the UK. I'm sad to say that I didn't know my little brother very well. I left for boarding school at 11 or 12, and about the same time he was leaving to go to prep school. So from that time, our paths only really crossed during school or university holidays. I have memories of a laughing, bullet-headed little boy. I then left South Africa in early 20s and saw Cameron and his family only on a few occasional visits. When he got ill, one of the few good things to come out of it for me was that we were able to touch base and get to know each other. His illness gave me an excuse to bother him daily on WhatsApp and even talk to him on the phone. It wasn't always easy, this new relationship. You will all know how much of a Scottish man he was, more comfortable joking than talking about himself or anything that mattered, with a deep voice that I sometimes struggled to follow on the phone, meaning that I missed most of his jokes. We were virtually strangers, finding our way slowly, tentatively, getting to know one another. I would bore him with the banal trivial of my life, anything but a daily conversation about cancer. And he would joke in response. But gradually, ever so slightly, the conversations became just a tiny bit more intimate. One of our themes was the British weather. I had to teach him why our British obsession with the weather was valid. We live on a small island after all and can experience 3 dramatic different weathers in any single day. It makes for exciting living and as well as endless conversation. I said recently to my dad and his wife Rose that it was emerging from these conversations while I thought I was being kind to him, Cameron was actually being kind to me, was trying to look after me rather than the other way around. It was very sweet and I was very touched. You all know that Cameron adored and was hugely proud of his children, but Lisa was his refuge and his strength. He loved her with direct and fierce devotion. It was one of the few personal things that he completely opened up about. He also seemed to honestly believe that she is the best cook in Natal, if not in the whole of South Africa, and was uncharacteristically serious and boastful about this fact. I foolishly didn't believe my brother would die so soon. Choose to believe, rather, that he'll live to fight another day. And so there are things that I'm meant to ask him, things I'm meant to tell him, and pictures I'm meant to send him, such as the old building where I work and my local heath in different lights. It's all very sad and unfair, but I got to connect with my little brother and to briefly share a small slice of his life. For that, I'm enormously grateful.
Hi everybody, my name is Patrick. I've known Cameron for many years. We skydived and started in PPC. We went to boogies all over the place. A boogie is where you get together a whole bunch of people in different venues and you have a lot of skydiving together.
You always pulled your pants down.
I never pulled my
And
pants down.
everyone else is too. I've been the victim.
But one of the things I always remember, and I think what I'd like to leave with you, and I need you to all pay attention to me very closely. I'm not going to pull my pants down. is we often stood around in a group, and there's actually a picture of us, I think it was Clarksdorp or something like that, where we were discussing our next skydive. And Cameron always wore sort of shorts with an elastic thing, but one of the things he used to do is put his hand down his pants and go like that. So I hope all of you saw that, because it's the last time Cameron's giving it to you. But he caught us every time, and we generally in a pub or something like that had to do a down or something like that. But there's so many stories, fun events, exciting things that happened with us. I nearly shat my pants when a firearm went off right next to me while I was having a wee, when on our way to Clarksdorp. Many, many occasions. But on that note, I would like to call Stu, Gavin, Romy, and Lisa up here, please. We have a tradition within skydiving that we do a down for the newer skydivers, or the people that have done their first jump, done whatever the case would be. They've got fines, they've got whatever, but there's a whole process that you need to go through to be able to
become a skydiver.
To become a skydiver, yeah.
Jackets off, PPC.
Just one last story. We had a reunion with a lot of guys from from PPC recently, and Cameron phoned me from on a FaceTime,
From
and he
hospital.
looked from hospital, and he looked like that. And the guy's like, "Who the fuck is that? He looks like the Taliban." Anyway, as Liam said, he had a fantastic sense of humor. Nothing was too serious. Everything was a joke, and I think that's where a lot of the skydivers live their life by. We've got some 60-year-olds. We've even had an 80-year-old that does the most bizarre things, and it's just, if you can go into an environment of skydivers, we are grown-ups that behave like children, and it doesn't often happen, but it's fantastic. So one of the things we used to do is we have to say something.
I've got heels on.
You've
Thanks,
got a
guys.
process that you do when you're skydiving, and it's anyway. I'll start it. So really, it's a little saying. I think it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4, 5 potato, 6 potato, out the fucking door.
Come on, down! It's not finished. Not finished.
Thank you very much, Cameron. You're a legend, bro.
Legend. Guys, it's been wonderful. If there are any stories that anyone would love to share, any anecdotes, we would love to hear them. But first, we just have a message that Sean's going to read from Cameron's dad. Very short message.
So, a lot of you guys know my dad. And you know what an amazing person he was. I just want to read a short message from his dad and stepmom. Son, we were always so proud of you. We will always miss hearing your voice and your humor. Even though you are not physically here with us anymore, you will stay in our hearts living forever till we meet again. Dad and Rosemary.
Yeah, if anybody has any stories, otherwise please, there's food, there's drinks. Cameron would love, couldn't have a dry way. Needed to have lots of alcohol, lots of food, his favourite things. Thank you very much. I promise you this will be
Okay, so I've been told that I need to make sure that there's a lot of space. This way. Down one in, down one in, down one in. I apologize for everyone's about to see. I don't know if they want to come around. There's maybe a gap here. I don't want you guys to suffer as much as you have to. Are you ready?
We're ready.
But I don't know what's going to happen.
Hi everyone, my name is Cameron. You see these tappies and these pants. They have done many, many, many jumps with Cameron and Lisa. And yes, I got them from Edgar's. Hi, I'm Stuart. I got this t-shirt with a badge. And this is going many skydives with Cameron and Lisa. And I have this jacket, and they sometimes call me hot pants,